So Bright Muse here. This is a Karen Blessing with 29 pieces. So tell us a little bit about 29 pieces before we get to know more about you and your background, how you came into this. But tell us what it is. What is 29 pieces?
Okay. Well, 29 Pieces is a nonprofit arts organization. We're like 13 years old now, and we essentially use art to teach nonviolence.
Mm-hmm.
We've worked with over 80,000 kids in this area, in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area, North Texas.
Okay.
We've trained more than 500 teachers in a curriculum that we've developed of 20 lessons that are subjects like sanctuary, love, respect, curiosity, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how do the teachers weave that in with their existing curriculum?
Well, it varies. Some of the teachers do the projects in their art classes.
Uh-huh.
Some of them, we do one project called the Great Peacemakers, like you and me lesson. That's often done by social studies teachers. We do one lesson called Thrive, which is about how gardens can be a source of peace and also are a source of conflict between nations when it comes to water and food. Mm-hmm. And so that's often used in science classes. So it varies.
Yeah.
The main program has been the education program, 29 Pieces Education. The tagline is Artists Making a Kinder World. And it's really about using art to teach these values, but also to teach art too. The other thing we're doing is that we're working in collective groups of students and adult artists, professional artists, to do large public sculpture. We just in 2016 finished a 20-foot mosaic sculpture that we donated to the city of Dallas. It's in Oak Cliff, right near the Oak Cliff Cultural Center, and had students from Sunset High School, Adamson, Booker T. Washington, Irma Rangel, and Dallas Can Academy working with professional mosaic artists, structural engineers, graphic design people, filmmakers to do the sculpture.
Oh wow, and they all work together.
Yeah, and so the kids learned a lot about mosaic, and they learned about how to do a public project. We really worked with them on doing presentations. The kids were with us. We're part of the team that did presentations to the city to create this little avenue of having the sculpture donated to the city. So it's been a great project. And then we also, part of it is that the kids get scholarship money.
Okay.
For participating. And so for that sculpture project, we gave over $22,000 in scholarship money to the kids to work on the project.
That's really cool. Yeah. So you have some good donors.
We have some good donors. Yeah, we have foundations, individuals, some corporate donors.
Okay.
One really cool thing that's come out of the Peace 24 project, the sculpture project, is that 5 of the kids who are part of that project are now working with us part-time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're now 21 years old. And so they're working with us part-time.
Wow.
They're young adults now.
Must have been impacted
College.
pretty strongly.
Yeah.
That's cool.
In 2000, a young man was shot and killed in my front yard. And I did a piece about that for the Dallas Morning News that I wrote and illustrated and worked on it for 3 years. When that was published, I had more kind of a pouring in of response from readers who had either been touched by the violence, victims of violence, or who had been perpetrators and been incarcerated, or had a child incarcerated. And it really changed my life. And I wanted to do something that used art to teach nonviolence, because after witnessing the impact of this one act of violence, it became really clear how wasteful and colossally detrimental every act of violence is to individuals, to the community, and to our whole world. It really came after, as a child, witnessing an act of violence, which at that time frightened me so much that I was silenced by it, and really silenced on that subject for many years. When this happened, I just could not be silent anymore, and I wanted to do something.
Okay.
And what I knew, what my something was using art. I understood how art changes people and opens up people's hearts, and can very subtly change the way people think. I worked at the Dallas Morning News for a while, and that's where I was the first graphic artist to be named as a winner of the Pulitzer Prize. So that was totally unexpected and kind of awesome.
Yeah.
And then began working with an agent in New York City, Morgan Gainen Inc., and they started getting me work with Lincoln Center, with the Times Square Business Improvement District, with publishers in New York.
So at what point did you decide to step out?
After the murder, though, I was working on a book with Putnam in New York called Peace One Day, and I became acquainted with a British activist. His name is Jeremy Gilley.
Mm-hmm.
That was at the same time that it was post the murder, post the article about the murder, and I was trying to figure out what to do with this ignited passion. I had this ignited passion to do something. I didn't know what form it was going to take. So it was really from the murder occurring and then just trying to figure out what to do. I didn't want to work with people who were incarcerated. I wanted to try to influence young people while their minds were still pliable
Mm-hmm.
and being programmed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Formative age.
At a formative age, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about the impact that you've seen that it's had on some of the kids that you've worked with, not just kids, but teachers and.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of those
I
experiences.
think by telling a couple stories about a few of the kids might be a good way to do that. For example, we worked with one young man at one school when he was at 5th grade, and I kept in touch with him a little bit. He last year was a senior in high school and he graduated. So last year he was one of the organizers of the March for Our Lives movement here in Dallas, and
Wow.
and he worked on the national committee on that. And so
Senior in high school?
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, and he really credited some of what he did with us as his motivation
Mm-hmm.
for doing that. The teachers over and over tell us that so many kids are coming from backgrounds where there's either a lot of chaos or neglect, and I'm talking all socioeconomic backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
We work with kids of all colors, all economic backgrounds, and they all have some of these same issues. They just have different faces on them.
Okay.
So the teachers tell us that through art and through the conversations that come up with our lessons, that it's a very safe environment for the youth to express themselves.
Mm.
It's also very democratic. When you work with kids, for example, we've had projects where we've worked with kids who are refugee kids from all over the world. At the same time, we're working with kids from affluent schools like Parish Episcopal, and we organize public exhibits. If I were to put those kids lined up, you could tell who's who.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have their art displayed at the public library or at the Dallas Museum of Art or the African American Museum, it's very democratic. Everybody's
Wow.
art has the same value.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's art is interesting in its own way, and there's a real democracy about art.
Wow. So if you took a refugee kiddo and say a kid from Highland Park, you're saying that their art would be
Yeah.
somewhat like you wouldn't be able to know who's
You would,
who's.
no, I defy people to do that because
That's cool.
I've challenged people to do exactly that. You tell me which is the kid from Highland Park and which is the kid from Hotchkiss Elementary who just arrived here from the Sudan a month ago.
Wow. So the art is really kind of leveling the playing field here.
It does. It levels the playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes everybody, it has a wonderful kind of almost magical way of giving every kid a sense of accomplishment
Mm-hmm.
and pride in what they've done. And particularly, one of the things we've worked into our programs is that we always have public exhibits of the art. So that's what we tell the kids from the very beginning is that we're doing this with you, but we already have exhibits lined up for you at City Hall and at the Dallas Public Library and at Love Field, So they have that in mind, and it really kind of ups their game,
Mm-hmm.
and it ups the teachers' game too, to encourage them to do their best. And so then when we have a reception and everybody comes out to the library or wherever, then there's a real sense of pride about
Yeah.
what they've done. Kids that we worked with in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade are now in high school or on to college. So the most impactful thing to me is to know that they have not forgotten, that they remember.
So they seek you out.
They seek me
sometimes.
out, and they'll remember my name, and
Cool.
they'll talk about the lessons and what they did. So we try to have a
Cool.
variety of artists come out, and the kids get the opportunity to meet artists, and just to know that there are actually real people out there.
Yeah.
who make a living in the arts. Because one of the things that I hear over and over again also is, oh, my mom and dad said I would never make a living in the arts. Love to be an artist, but I don't think they'll ever make a living. There's some truth to that. They might not make as much as they'll make if they go into business or finance, but
why squash it so
but
early?
but you're right. But why squash it so early? Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. So how can we? I would love to see one of these exhibits. Maybe some viewers here would like to see where they could go, experience this, or how to get in touch with you. Tell us.
Yeah. Well, we're on Facebook, 29 Pieces on Facebook, so please like us on Facebook. We're doing a huge project right now. It's a collaboration with the University of North Texas campus in Dallas and an international nonprofit called Ashoka, which is about social entrepreneurship. And it's all about teachers. We want to change the narrative of teachers at Dallas ISD. So part one is that we're doing a series of hundreds of posters of Dallas teachers. Part two is that we're working with youth to do portraits of teachers who have had a positive impact on them. So we're going to have exhibits of that in the spring at the Dallas Public Library downtown and at the University of North Texas and at Conrad High School.
Okay.
So if people like us on Facebook, they'll know about that.
Okay.
You can go to our website at 29pieces.org. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Karen.
Thank you.
I love this, and
Thank you.
I'm going to get you out.
I
Get
like
you out to
that.
my kids' school. It's going to happen.
Good. Good.
If nothing else, I'm persistent.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you being my bright.
Thank you.